Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast today. These podcasts are brought to you in part by our sponsors who really truly are what make these podcasts possible every week. O'Fallon Nutrition is a company that I've worked with for over 15 years. They're independently owned and operated, located here in O'Fallon, Missouri, right off of Highway K and Mexico Road. I call this place the Whole Foods of St. Charles County, but even if you are not located on this side of the river, it is still worth the drive. I can remember working all the way down at Powerhouse and still sending people out to O'Fallon Nutrition for their supplements. They are more than a supplement company. You can get grass-fed beef, salad dressing, seasoning for your cooking, hair care products, makeup, deodorant, toothpaste, essential oils, and all the vitamins and minerals that you can think of. If you're looking for clean, whole food nutrition, as well as home care, house care, skincare products, O'Fallon Nutrition is your place. You can take a look at them at o'fallonnutrition.com, or if you'd like to have something shipped, if you're listening to me from outside of St. Louis, you can certainly have items shipped. I know they do free shipping if it's an order over $50, and the phone number is 636-240-5283. Again, it's o'fallonnutrition.com. As well as if preparing your food on a weekly basis is your primary excuse for why you're not able to stay on a good, clean eating program, which is something that I hear very regularly from my clients, I would ask you to please take the time to check out Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com. They are a phenomenal place. We get our food from there during the week. They deliver to our Integrity location. They will deliver to your house. They also are just available for pickup. You can go to their Chesterfield location or their Kirkwood location and just pick up meals for the day, as well as just having them delivered right to your door. So if preparing your food is your main excuse for why you cannot stay on a healthy eating program, then I would suggest just stop by Pure Plates. Just try it. If you're trying to lower your blood pressure, you're trying to lower your cholesterol, you're trying to get your blood sugar down, try to do Pure Plates meals for a week and just see how different you feel. These are organic meals. They are gluten-free. If you need them to be, they can be dairy-free. They are soy-free. You're not taking any processed sugars or meat-curing agents or preservatives. They really, truly believe in nutrient-dense meals that are just whole food nutrition. And I've had my clients, or I've made recommendations for my clients for years at Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com, or you can call them to ask questions at 636-778-3555. Again, remembering that they have a location in Chesterfield as well as in Kirkwood that you can just run by and pick up a meal today. Everyone always asks me where I get my meat from, and given that I really eat meat on a daily basis, typically beef primarily, my meat is very important to me. I have an autoimmune condition and I want grain-free, corn-free meat, and I just haven't found the confidence in stores in knowing that I'm getting 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I have searched and searched and searched for the right farm, and I have found the farm. It's fedfromthefarm.com, fed, F-E-D, from thefarm.com. These farmers are amazing. It's a family. They're here in Missouri, and they have the desire, just like I do, to see people well and to see people healthy, and they put a lot into what they do. It's such a wonderful family to support. They do offer 100% grass-finished, grass-fed, meaning that's it. A beef, and I get my ribeyes, I get my ground beef, my ground sirloin, I get my chuck roast. I mean, they basically have everything. They even have awesome jerky, but they also have eggs, they have chickens, and they have turkey. I'm planning on getting a turkey for Thanksgiving, and if you'd like lamb, they have that as well. But if you are in need of good quality grass-fed, grass-finished beef, or quality eggs, chicken, turkey, don't just settle for what you're getting at the local store. to go out on the internet and check out Fed from the Farm. That you can arrange a pickup or you can have it delivered to your home. And I can guarantee you're going to taste the difference. For me, my health actually depends on it. So I really thank God to have found such a great farmer. Fedfromthefarm.com. I hope it blesses you.
Welcome to Faith, Fuel, and Fitness, the Integrity Way, with your hosts, John and Debbie Morris from Integrity Training Systems.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. We always like to start our segments talking about what it means to be a warrior. So, Debbie, why don't you give the definition of what a warrior is?
Well, a brave or experienced soldier or fighter.
You nailed it.
I'm so fortunate because it just happens to say it right on your shirt.
Well, it does. I've got the shirt on today. But it is funny because we do this every week and we also talk about it all week. And it's funny how when we put each other on the spot to say it, you'll be like, a brave and talented fighter. It's like, no, that's not it. It's
experienced.
Like, yeah, experienced. But
yes.
that's it's so important to get that experienced terminology in there because we're all experienced fighters. We've all fought something. We've all had our battles. I know different clients that have had to fight through cancer and different clients that have had to fight through autoimmune diseases, different clients who have had to fight to lose 100 pounds. When you do things like that fight, that makes you experienced, which makes you a warrior. So when you're talking about battling for your health, you've already been there. Maybe not on the same battlefield, maybe not in the same battle, but you've already been a part of the war, and that's what makes you a warrior. So you have to choose to stay in there. So we always like to talk a little bit each week. We've given our definitions of what we feel that means to us quite a few times, but we like to talk about different things that either we're experiencing and or clients that we're having are experiencing at this time so that we can just kind of get some encouragement out there for you guys that are listening on the fact that you're not going through something alone. So Deb, why don't we talk about what you've got this week as far as either yourself or someone else and what they're currently dealing with?
Yeah, I think for me personally, I think it's I've just had this moment. I posted, the other day about, just being willing to dream big, and just not talking yourself down from the possibility that maybe God has actually really called you to something really incredible. And then I guess for me recently, it's been like almost like a faith thing, like a faith building, I guess you could say, thing where I've wanted to doubt that I was hearing from God. Like, I feel like I sort of have like the enemy on one shoulder and the Lord on another shoulder. I mean, I know that's kind of a dumb way of explaining it, but that's kind of like, or I guess you could say I feel like I have the Holy Spirit in one ear and then I have the enemy in the other ear. And I don't know if they're like battling it out in the center of my brain, but I'm trying to convince myself that I'm not hearing from God. Like, I'm trying to say there's no way that God would give you this big of a dream. There's no way that you're ever going to be able to accomplish this. There's just no way in the natural that you can possibly make this happen. And so everything I read and everything I hear and everything I'm listening to, like every single day of my life, tells me, well, none of it is going to happen in the natural. It's all going to happen in the supernatural.
Right.
And that every time you try to work towards something that big, and try to accomplish something that has a result for the kingdom, that you will hit attack. And the attack could be so strong that it could nearly take you out, right?
Right.
But I think where I've had to really warrior up this week, and I've had to read the full armor of God. Like, I've actually had to get into my Bible and genuinely read it to remind myself of what I have to deflect, and that has to be my own personal voices, trying to discount and say, this is just a far-fetched dream. It's too big. It's not possible. There's no way that you're going to be able to make this happen. And obviously, we've spoke about this before, but, our dream is to really create a health system that is attached, to integrity training systems, basically. And, we'd like to be able to move ourselves just kind of across the way and purchase some land and build a building and in the middle of the trees and create a retreat scenario where people can go on the daily, or they can come in from out of the country, or they can come in from all over the country and spend the weekend with us. But our personal training and nutrition would be part of it. But then we would equip people with cryotherapy and a salt room and IV therapy and functional medicine and hyperbaric oxygen therapy and all of the things that really will turn a person's life around. And we just believe so strongly that this is possible, but we don't have millions of dollars to make it possible. And I can see that we can do this and that the Lord can be present in every single part of it. And I feel like his presence will be in this facility. And people need that. They need to be drawn to something where faith is and where light is and where life is. And that's what Integrity Training Systems is. We don't hit you over the head with the Bible when you walk in, but I'll tell you, you'll walk in and know that there's something different. There's just something different about us. So I would say for me, I have had to armor up. I've had to get in the Word. I've had to get into prayer. I've had to pace a little bit. And I've had to just remind myself, and Pastor Jeff Perry at St. Louis Family Church on Sunday said so many times I can't even count, that you have to remind yourself that you are more than a conqueror. And I put it on our board at the gym, and I just had to remind myself, like, I am more than a conqueror through Christ. I can do all things through him. I know what it's like to be in lack. I know what it's like to be in plenty. And God's going to show me through all of this, and he's going to give us the wisdom to know exactly what directions to go and who to speak to, and all of it's going to line up. But none of it's going to line up if I don't do anything about it, and I just stay at home and I just shrink back every day and I don't believe in it. If I don't have the courage to even have the obedience to act on the wisdom that I know that he's giving me.
I actually have the polar opposite issue that I've dealt with here recently, where I can see the vision of how big the dream is. And it's like, I know that that's actually going to happen. But then the daily work required to get there feels overwhelming. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to get up at this time and I have to get this done and I have to do that and I have to be here and I have to be there by this time. I'm not going to be able to do that. And it's fascinating because with what I'm situationally currently dealing with, I already do it. It's like I do it every week. It's no different than what I've already accomplished for the last decade of my life. And I think sometimes I deal with clients that have this as well. And it's easy for us to get ourselves in this perpetual loop of believing that we're not going to be able to accomplish something that we've already previously accomplished. And that's the idea of the warrior, brave or experienced fighter. Well, you've already experienced it. What is it that you're telling yourself you can't do this for? Oh, well, I have to work this many hours today, or I have to meet this person. I'll give you an example of my day today. I had to go to a doctor. I'm at the radio show currently. I have a client after this. I have some paperwork and sales I have to run from there. And then I have 2 people that I train, but while I'm training them, I work out with them as well. After that, I have some other paperwork that I need to get done. And then I have some messages that I need to respond to as far as scheduling people and getting new clientele in. I feel like an overwhelming oppression. That is nothing. Not only is that not having to do much, but it's actually less than half of what I do on a normal day through the rest of my week. So what is that sensation? What is that emotion? What is that feeling telling me? It's just too much. I can't take that on. And what I feel is sometimes, like Deb said, that's when the enemy comes in and tries to convince you you're not capable of accomplishing the little things, because the little things matter. And if he can take the little things from you, it's like a domino effect, and you're no longer able to accomplish the large things. So remember, when you're doing those small tasks, you've probably already accomplished them. They're really not that much. The weight of them combined together is still doable. And if you're feeling that overwhelming sensation, I challenge you to sit down and write out a list. And I promise you, 9 times out of 10, you'll realize it's not as overwhelming as it feels.
Absolutely. That's so good. It's just like such a basic principle. And yet when you see it on paper, it's like, let me just check this off. Like, I can just line item this out and I can get this done. I really agree with that. That's such a great way of looking at it. I will say that is one thing that we do at Integrity Training Systems is we really try to apply patterns of discipline and really just giving you we give you the equipping on how to create a healthy lifestyle through nutrition, through training, but through mindset and organization and just all of the details. We just try to help you pull all of it together. For more information on a 6-month nutrition program with us at Integrity Training Systems, please take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com, or for a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers, please give us a call at 636-299-2208. If you are looking for gluten-free, dairy-free, nutrient-dense, healthy baked goods delivered to your doorstep from my personal bakery, please take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And please don't forget about fedfromthefarm.com. It is 100% grass-finished beef. They also have chicken. They have eggs. It is an amazing family out of Sedalia, Missouri. They will deliver that meat right to your doorstep. An awesome family to bless, and the most incredible meat, and very, very quality anti-inflammatory product.
Welcome back, everybody. John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. Just got done talking to you guys about what we feel a warrior is. And during that conversation, Debbie mentioned that she had posted recently about dreaming big. And I actually want to talk a little bit about that in this segment. I think it's important that we dream big, and it's kind of funny if you look at my background with law enforcement, when we talked about firearms, it was always aim small, miss small. So if you think about a spot that you're trying to hit and you're off by a little bit, you still hit your target. But it's kind of the opposite in life. If you aim too small, you're going to miss too small. And that trajectory is actually what you don't want, because you're not going to land anywhere near where you want to go as far as how big and far your life could take you. The bigger you dream, the more you have that you can accomplish. So, Deb, talk to us a little bit about why you feel it's important to dream big.
Well, I mean, I think like with what I do for a living, I just think that people, this is one thing that happens all the time, actually. In the beginning, I'll ask what their current weight is, and I don't even own a scale, so I don't weigh them or anything like that. I don't like chasing a scale, but I'll ask what their current weight is, and then I'll just say, do you have a weight that you feel is ideal? Now, they don't even have to be coming into me for weight loss. I'm still going to ask them this question. They may need to gain weight. They may be so unhealthy they need to gain weight.
Sure.
But I just want to know in their mind, what do they feel is an ideal weight? And a lot of times someone will give me a weight, and let's say they're 175 pounds, but really I know enough to know that they probably should be 125 pounds, okay? But they will tell me that they feel like their ideal weight is 145 pounds. And, they're 5'1", barely, almost 5 foot tall, really more like 5 foot tall. Let's just say, for example, I'm just going to give this as an example. And I'll just say, okay, is that based off of a weight that you used to be at one point? Or what drives you to feel like that's your best weight? Is that really what you're inspired to work towards? I just want to know how to measure progress for you. And they'll say, well, to be honest, I just would be so thrilled to at least get to that point. So I guess I just don't believe that I'll ever be able to get beyond that point. And I was like, listen, we're not even here to spend all of our time on a scale. We are here to focus on your health and getting you to the most, and I mean the most premium level of health that you can be in. And if we truly achieve that, now we may not do all of that with food. You may have to go out and do a cryo chamber. You may have to go out and do an IV. You may have to meet with a functional medicine doctor. But you know what? We'll build the team together. But if we actually do that, I can assure you, we need to go way beyond the thinking that you have right now. This 145, I'll never be able to get beyond it, because you would still be 20 pounds overweight for your height and just your frame. And I don't think you're going to feel good. I think you're still going to feel inflamed. Right. So Let's determine, where do we really want to be? What have you always dreamed to have? What is the health that you've always had a dream for? And I mean it. I want to know it. You tell me you want to be able to run a marathon, and right now you're walking with a limp. I don't care. I want you to tell me exactly what your dream has always been for your health, right? What do you want it to look like? What clothing do you want to wear? What do you want to be able to do with your kids? What is it? What is that dream? And then I look at them and I give them the confidence to believe that it's actually possible. Like, I actually pour into them that it is truly possible that they could achieve all of these things, just like the list you talked about last segment. We're just going to list all these things, and we're just going to start checking things off, because we're going to start doing one foot in front of the other. Let's go in this direction to try to improve this. Let's make these choices to try and improve this. If we don't dream like that and we're just accepting of the 145, and we just say, okay, then what happens? You get to the 145 and then that's it? We always sort of stay in this like level of mediocrity that we're just accepting of. I'm not accepting of that for anyone, not myself, but not my family, but not my clients. I want to help them pull out of that and believe for bigger for their life. We have a client that really is dealing with financial struggles because her son, had some liver issues, and then her daughter had major allergy issues. And I mean, they really went through the ringer trying to get their kids to a healthy state. And I mean, this woman has broke her back to make her kids healthy, and they are finally healthy. But she comes in, and I mean, she's got a burden of financials on her, okay, trying to figure out how to budget all this, how to do all these things. And I just looked at her and I just said, why don't we just believe for abundance for you? Like, let's just believe that you don't have to be strapped like this anymore. You're not going out and spending it at Saks Fifth Avenue. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You're not buying new cars. You're trying to heal your family. You're doing right with this money. So let's believe that God could actually open up the windows of heaven, like the Bible says, and pour down a blessing that you can't even contain. And so I want to ignite people to believe that big.
Yeah, I just think that it's easy to, going back to what you said about the weight, one thing that we do is we measure everything we do by health. And so it's in our slogan, train to live. And conceptually what that means is that we're going to help you eat, train, live, and build a lifestyle that promotes being as healthy as possible. And then I use the scale from a poundage perspective as a scale. People call it the scale. I call it a scale. Another scale is pictures of yourself in clothes, pictures of yourself out of clothes, measurements with a tape measure. If you want to do body fat percentages. How well can you pick up the groceries? How well can you walk up the hill to your house? How well can you do all the things that come with doing life? And, when you put all of that together, that's when you actually start to see what the great result is that you're aiming for. And if you aim small on a goal of something of this magnitude of your health, a lot of times what I see happens is people hit that goal and they think it's time to glide. And when they start gliding and they start slowing down, they never actually have the opportunity to be as well as they can be because they were limited on how far they decided they were going to shoot from the get-go.
Yeah, they rested before the mission was complete, like Jocko Willink says. And that's what we do at Integrity Training Systems. Like, we believe in you before you even believe in yourself. And I will sit on the other side of my desk with you, and I will say, we can take you further. We can do this. We can finally achieve this for you. We can gain this health, and I never give up on you. And I don't care if you make mistakes. I don't care if you have some failures along the way. I never give up on you, and I never, ever allow you to give up on yourself. For more information on a 6-month nutrition program with myself at Integrity, please take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com. Or to schedule a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers, give us a call at 636-299-2208. If you're looking for gluten-free, dairy-free, nutrient-dense, healthy baked goods delivered to your doorstep, please take a look at my personal bakery, sophiesbakery.com. And don't forget about my favorite farmer, fedfromthefarm.com, 100% grass-finished beef, an anti-inflammatory option for your family.
Welcome back, everybody. This is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. We just talked about what it means to be a warrior and how you need to dream big in life. In the first segment, we talked about a little bit God showing you a vision. And Deb, I want to ask you, how do you feel when you know God has shown you a vision for your life? And talk a little bit about what it is that drives you to feel like you should accomplish that.
Well, I mean, I would say it's when you're sort of being obedient, I think, to the call. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I guess I would consider the call faithfulness to the Lord. And now I know He can speak to you even when you're not being faithful, because that's how I got saved. Right. I mean, at one point I didn't know the Lord. Right. And I was so sick, I thought I was going to die. And He found His way to me. Right. I just kept getting messages and messages and messages. And all of these things started lining up. And someone gave me a Bible, and I was on my deathbed and thought I was going to die. And then before I know it, I'm saved by grace. Right. So, I mean, I didn't know what the call of God was for my life then. So it can happen to anybody. He's present with us always. Not just in times in trouble. He never leaves us nor forsakes us. He's just always there, right? He's an ever-present help in trouble. Praise God for that, because I have needed Him so many times, but I also need Him in the good times. But for me, it's if I'm faithful to the call, if I'm in the Word, if I'm committed to hearing from my pastor and being obedient to His Word and His suggestions and listening to His messages every week, and then trying to actually apply them to my week and really trying to live that out, allowing, His leadership to lead us, and then getting into different devotionals and really pressing into prayer at a much deeper level, which I believe breath work and stretching has allowed me to be able to do that, because I can connect with God in a way where before my mind was racing into so many other thoughts that I couldn't. And so what happens is I feel like when I'm fully dedicated to that lifestyle or to that commitment and that connection, I will hear from Him more clearly. And it's almost like a spirit of discernment that'll just come over you, where you'll be in a situation and wisdom will be present in your heart, in your mind, as if someone just unlocked a door, or as if someone just opened up a window, where I have had plenty of times in my life where I have not been obedient to the call. I have not been in the Word. I have not been pacing in prayer. I have not been quiet with the Lord. Now, I'm not shunning anyone from doing this. I'm admitting I've had plenty of times in my life where I've gotten too busy and I haven't done it, and I have not been able to hear from God. And I have been asking and questioning and what do I do? What door should I open? What window should I open? How do I make this decision? When all I probably really need to do in all those situations when I'm so busy is stop everything I'm doing, drop down on my knees, turn the rest of the noise off, quiet my mind, start breathing, and start pressing in, and just calm my nervous system enough to allow myself to be present with the Lord and to actually hear from Him.
Right. I mean, I think one thing that people get caught up in is, daily routine, the wheel of life. People talk about, I get up, I go to work, I get up, I go to work, the weekend hits, I do my weekend, and then I do it all over again. You have to reprogram that and think about why you're doing that. Like, what is the why behind it? Are you showing up to what you do just to collect a paycheck? I mean, obviously there has to be money. That's what allows you to stay in a home. That's what allows you to keep the electric on. That's what allows you to pay bills. So you have to produce revenue. But Why are you choosing to do what you do? Do you have a passion for it? Has God put it on your heart to do that? And sometimes you just have to remind yourself what you're doing and who you're helping. I was talking to one of our employees not that long ago, and I was explaining to her how important the things that she does are and how much it helps people. And she didn't really understand that she was helping people because most of what she does is behind the scenes. She runs and gets stuff for us. She does errands, helps us with cleaning around the gym. She does a lot of different things for us. And I was explaining that the things that she does in the wheel of our company actually allow Debbie and I to do the things that we do. It allows the trainers to do the thing that they do. And so the people that we are actually helping and meeting with on a daily basis are being helped by her. So I was like, if you ever start to second guess, like, what am I actually doing? Who am I actually helping? Like, you're helping a tremendous amount of people through us by proxy of what we're doing as well. And I have to do the same thing. There's days that I'll wake up and I'll think, oh my gosh, I got to be at the gym at 5 o'clock today and I'm not going to leave until 8:30 tonight. It's going to be a long day. Like, am I going to have the energy to do that? Like, why do I do these types of days? And I do. I have to get in my mind and I have to pray and I have to think, you know what? I do these days because these are 15 people today that I have the ability to potentially turn their thought process around today. And if they leave out of here and they've got any form of betterment that comes from meeting with me, then that makes that day worth that. And I think it all comes down to knowing what your why is. You have to remind yourself of what your why is. I mean, the reason our company exists is because we want to be able to help people to come to the Lord through what we do. We want to be able to help people to achieve the greatest state of health in their life. And the reason we do it out of our own facility is so that we can facilitate exactly that the way we feel and see is best. But you have to determine your why. You have to determine not only why you do what you do for a living, but like, why do you want to be healthy? Why do you want to be well? If weight loss is the goal, why do you want to lose the weight? Maybe it is just to look good in a Speedo on the beach. Maybe that's the why, and that's okay. But what is the why? And if you can get to the actual depth of that, if you can reach in real deep and figure out what is my overall why for anything I do, I just think it ensures your success and solidifies it so much better than attempting to tackle something just on a surface value. And we see this when we deal with people that compete, bodybuilding, jiu-jitsu, whatever it may be. It's like, if your why is just to do a competition, it's just to get yourself into a moment. Once that moment's over, what is to prevent you from going back to where you came from? But I always tell people, looking good and weight loss is actually a byproduct of what we do. If you get yourself healthy and well, those things will follow that. And then if you chose to put yourself on some form of stage or in some form of competition, you're truly just presenting the best form of your health that you can, rather than making that the reason you're attempting to do so.
And you're having the opportunity to become an influence on someone else. So I believe when you're competing like that, one of your driving factors should be that it's for something greater than yourself. I've been listening to a lot of TD Jakes lately. I feel like when I'm going through, deep ruts, where you're trying to work yourself through things, I just tend to get stuck on TD Jakes. It's sort of like the year I got stuck in Proverbs. I every time I'd go in the Bible, I would think I should read Philippians, I should read Romans, and then I'd immediately know I was supposed to go back to Proverbs, even though I had been reading it. I read Proverbs for basically a year. And at the end of the day, I needed it because I still have so much of that rooted in me, and it's really helped me, and it's helped equip me over the years. But TD Jakes was talking the other day, and he kind of has an intense approach to it. I don't really explain it quite this way, but he says we basically have just turned into a narcissistic society, and I think it's a lack of humility. And what is happening is we are just so self-focused. So we're just all about what can we do for us? How is our day going to be? How tired will we be? How much energy will we have? When at the end of the day, it's like if God puts you there, he will give you everything you need to get through that day. He will equip you with everything that it takes for a person to accomplish a contest, to accomplish a challenge. If he puts you in that position and wants you to be there, he'll give you everything that it takes, right? But if we could take a moment and maybe step outside of our own self and start our day thinking about why we're doing what we're doing. First, it's for him, right? All of it. And he gets all the glory for everything. And it's for his call. It's for his kingdom, right? So if we're fighting a battle for him, if we are in his army, if we have his equipment, right, his tools, then we will be victorious because there's always victory in Jesus. It doesn't even matter. All the way down to the day you die on the battlefield, there's the greatest victory of all because you end up in heaven. Exactly. So at the end of the day, we think outside of the box and we don't think of ourselves. We think of others and we think of him first. And a lot of times our problems become so small because we are not magnetizing them every minute in our thinking. How tired am I going to be? Or am I going to have enough money? Am I going to be able to lose this weight? Am I going to be able to make this contest? Am I going to be able to get first place? Am I going to be able to be strong enough to do this? No, let's just think about what God has for us today. What's he going to have us do today?
Right. I talk about that even with jiu-jitsu competing. You know, it's like you talk to yourself about like, okay, am I going to be able to take first place? Am I going to be able to beat this person? And I was talking about this with a couple of our trainers on Friday this last week. And I said, you know, when I train for a jiu-jitsu competition, there are components of weight cutting. Not so much. I've only ever really done that once. I usually compete in ultra heavyweight because then I don't have to worry about my weight. I just have to be big. But the main component that I have to pay attention to is just training to be the best version of a jiu-jitsu competitor that I can be and presenting that to my opponent. And sometimes it's not going to be enough to take first place. Sometimes it might land me in a different spot than I would hope that it would. But the reality is it's just going into it knowing that I've given my all, I've fought as best as I can, and I've trained as hard as I can train to become the person that I want to present. And I think that more people need to try to take that approach with their life. You need to go into life. You need to go into doing God's call on your life, just giving your all. Whatever your all is for the day, get up and give it. And if you're caught up and I'm too tired, I'm too weak, I can't do this, you're going to end up underperforming, not because you don't have the skill set, but because you don't have the belief in yourself to do it.
Exactly. And I believe God will give you exactly what you need to accomplish it if it's what he would have you to accomplish. If it's what he has set you out to accomplish, he will give you everything that you need. But you have to stop thinking about you, and you have to stop that repetitive thought process in your mind, and you have to first think about him. Then second, think about all of the lives that you can impact with what you do. That's what we're here for. We're servants first. Number one, servants for him and for his kingdom purposes. For more information on working with us at Integrity Training Systems for a 6-month nutrition program or personal training, by signing up for a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers, take a look at Integrity Training Systems or give us a call at 636-299-2208. And don't forget to check out sophiesbakery.com for gluten-free, dairy-free, nutrient-dense baked goods, and my favorite farmer at fedfromthefarm.com for 100% grass-finished beef.
Welcome back, everybody. John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. Last segment, we were talking a little bit about how you feel when you know God has shown you a vision for your life and helping people with that vision. And Deb, you actually brought up the word influence, which I wanted to talk a little bit about today. And influence, the definition is the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself. And I just think that influence nowadays is taken for granted and kind of overused, especially the verbiage. You know, there's so many people that when you ask them what they do for a living, they identify as an influencer. You know, I want to be an influencer. I want to be a social media influencer. And it's like, what does that even mean? What are you influencing? What are you bringing to the table and using? So, Deb, I want to ask you, like, what is influence to you? What does it mean?
Well, I feel like lately it's become advertising, basically,
right,
which is somewhat disappointing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I don't feel like that's why that's why what God's called us to be.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with believing in a product. I talk about Fed from the Farm, right? Well, that's because I believe in the product.
Right.
I think we all need a quality product, and if someone stands behind it and you trust that person, well, then that's a reliable referral, right? But now we just have a person that does that for a living. They just
Right.
give referrals for a living. I mean, I guess that's possible, you know, but like, when do they have time to live? Because all they're doing is just giving referrals all the time. I'm actually going out and living life, and that life is causing me to have such a strong opinion on something that I influence others to consider doing it as well.
Right.
So, you know, to me, Ed Milet says that influence is a transfer of energy. And I really believe that, you know, so I have always hoped that integrity training systems influenced folks to become healthy, well-rounded individuals. And that includes faith. It includes their spiritual health as much as their physical health. Well, like I said earlier, we don't hit you over the head with the Bible or anything, and it's not like we walk up and start laying hands on you and start praying over you in the middle of the gym, which we would do if you asked us to or if we needed to. But at the end of the day, we don't. But we're influencing you by who we are and by what we are and what leads us and what guides us. Our, you know, the way we sort of manifest our energy in our life is an influence to other people. If we walk around negative and sour, looking like we sucked on a lemon all the time, we will influence our children and we will influence our spouse with that energy.
Right.
And they will go to work down. They will go to work just disappointed and discouraged when they could have actually been in a great mood.
That's one thing that I pride myself on with our facility is I get told by countless clientele of other trainers about how they can just see how healthy our staff really is and how serious they really take it and how they've been in other fitness atmospheres or other health atmospheres, you know, where they have a medical professional and or a fitness professional that is not healthy or is not in shape, talking to them about what they need to do. And, you know, multiple of these clients have said it's not that I don't believe they have the knowledge of what they're talking about, but if they're not living an application, it's harder to listen to what they're saying. And there's validity in that. That's the influence. Just telling someone something doesn't necessarily influence them.
No, it's that energy
generating
transfer.
The energy that you actually believe in what you're saying and you're passionate about what you're saying and you're living what you're saying, that's what's going to cause someone to be influenced. So when I think about what influence means to me, I just think about how I want somebody else to get to live their life. And by proxy, it ends up helping me with mine. There's this guy, and I don't know much about him. I don't spend a lot of time on YouTube. I really don't have any social media other than YouTube, and I don't even know if you would consider that social media. But they do shorts, and there's this guy named Jay Waller, and he's got some different videos that have hit that I'm kind of like, I don't really know that I want to listen to this guy. But I will tell you there was one that he said, and he is some mega multimillionaire, and what he says is, you know, I like to help people. I like to buy stuff for people because I've got all this money. And what's the point of this money if I'm not using it to help someone else? But what's interesting about it is he goes, the reason I help other people is because it actually helps me. He goes, I feel good when I do it. I receive back by what I do for someone else. He's like, so I'm not even really doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. Now, what's interesting about that comment is when you talk about what God tells us about how, we reap what we sow, and sowing on unto others brings it back to us tenfold. That's true. And that's what he's saying. And he's not realizing it is what he's putting out there, what he's sowing, he's reaping it, and so by helping others, he's helping himself. And it's a greater feeling than even just doing something for himself. And so when I think about being able to influence other people, for instance, I have a workout this afternoon with 2 guys, and I don't want to go. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to work out. I want to see them. They're great guys. I love them. But the reason I'm going to go is for them. And so my influence is that I'm going to be as healthy as I need to be. I'm going to do the exercise for them because it's going to help them. And the byproduct is I'm going to receive the benefit of showing up and doing a workout that I may not have done on my own.
But sometimes we have to influence ourselves.
Right.
And it's not sometimes, it's every day. And
Absolutely.
I think that's the problem, is that a lot of times we can get so caught up in what are we doing for other people, and are we even happy with the product that we're providing for the other people? If we're not happy with the job that we're doing with other people, then we have to look at the way we're taking care of ourselves.
Right.
How are we creating positive energy in our body?
Correct.
Are we praying? Are we resting? Are we relaxing? Do we take time for breath work? Do we do stretching? Do you go on a long walk? Do you actually communicate with your spouse in a positive manner and have good discussions? And,
right.
And really truly take time with your kids and be present with them and have enjoyable conversations? Like, are you doing these things? Are you even influencing yourself in a positive way?
Right.
Or are you instead listening to a lot of negative news? Are you listening to songs that just talk about stuff that you don't believe in?
Right.
Are you watching movies that are a little bit questionable? Are you allowing yourself to be surrounded by people or doing questionable things? Like, are you married and potentially spending time with people that, maybe isn't the right thing to do when you're married? And then suddenly it's prompted a seed in you to start thinking things that maybe you wouldn't have thought of. You've got to influence yourself.
And conceptually, this is what they talk about when they say it's easier for someone to be pulled down than picked up is, what are you surrounding yourself in? Because every energy you're bringing in could potentially affect you. I had a client recently telling me about a movie to watch with our daughter who's 11, and they were like, it's not that bad. It's got some stuff in it, but it's not that bad. And I looked it up, and I'm like, no, it actually looks like it's worse than I want her to see. And the reality is, would it be terrible for her at her age? Would she not comprehend the things that she should comprehend? No, but I don't want that input on her, because even just a couple of those things, stimulating that kind of energy in her mind, and then what could perpetuate from that, it's not worth it at this time, especially not for something she doesn't have to do. Right. So just consider every energy you're bringing in and every energy you're putting out, and try to influence the best you can, but be influenced by the things that are going to make you better.
Let us influence you. We want to. Let us take you into Integrity Training Systems and bring life and bring light and just change your life. That's what we do. For more information on a 6-month nutrition program with myself at Integrity Training Systems, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com, or for a free personal fitness assessment with any of our personal trainers, where we assess and identify any muscle imbalances, postural deviations that you have. We teach you how to stretch, teach you how to foam roll, teach you mobility exercises, and we get you equipped for exercise free of charge. Give us a call at 636-299-2208. And if you're interested in gluten-free, dairy-free, nutrient-dense, healthy baked goods delivered to your doorstep from my personal bakery, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And don't forget about my favorite farmer, fedfromthefarm.com. 100% grass-finished beef delivered to your doorstep, an anti-inflammatory source for your family. God bless you all. Thank you so much for listening. It is a blessing to be on the radio with you.